Very welcome. It's nice to be here. This magnificent room and this place with so much history. Oh my gosh. I feel quite humbled by the whole thing. It's brilliant.
You will celebrate next year the 50th birthday of your company.
Oh my, yes.
Oh my God. So you like to be considered as a classic with a twist. How would you describe yourself?
I mean, yes, next year is the 50th anniversary of Paul Smith. Of course, it started in a very tiny way. Often people were asking how to describe what my work is, and a lot of my work was very simple. So I always said that it had a twist, because like the shirt I'm wearing with just a little piece of colour or the coloured lining. And so I've always tried to be slightly irreverent in terms of not always putting the obvious things together, mixing things in a slightly, I call it irreverent way. So like a cashmere suit but with a denim shirt, or always try to just do things with a bit of character. And I think what I'm really passionate about is that, and I think unfortunately a lot of the world is losing this, is individuality, because so many people now are so sold things with the logo on or in the whole outfit, and people are not really so brave as they used to be.
You prefer signature than logo?
I personally find that logo is just about trying to get quick sales for their company, you know, and also I think it's a huge sign of the fact that people are not very they're insecure, so they have a sign that says I am wealthy, or I am fashionable, or I am a member of a certain club. I think a lot of it's to do with insecurity. So with Paul Smith, you very rarely find Paul Smith written big on anything.
You prefer style?
Well, I think, you know, hopefully, especially the audience and the young people at this university, you know, they have good brains, you know, and so we should be interested in human nature and good brains, conversation, and then clothes are something which is added to that. But I think being individual, style is a difficult word, I think.
Why it's difficult? Because Coco Chanel say that style remains. What that fashion goes and style remains. How would you define the idea of style?
I think style is it's very hard to define, because you know, style can be to do with just good posture and being stylish, have good manners, and of course, you know, putting things together in a way which suits your character, rather than putting things together from the magazine in the way that the designer put it together. Maybe you should put it together in your way, you know. So that's what I hope happens with my clothes. People put it together in their way, so they're humorous, they're serious, they're playful, they're you know, something more character.
And something has not changed for you since you started. I mean, it's what does inspire you today, and is it different from yesterday?
I mean, what's always been important for me when I started with my wife, Pauline, is then, and hopefully still a lot now, but then as a designer, you had an idea in your head and your heart, and you hoped somebody would like it. Now it's all to do, the product is almost not the side thing, but it's so much to do with marketing, social media, communication, image, celebrity endorsement. Oh, and then the clothes. So it's very different to what it used to be. And so what we hope is that we still have a lot of honesty in what we do. Of course, we have to be aware of of what the market is doing. You know, right now, as you know, there's a lot more sportswear. There's less people are wearing classic suits than they used to do. So you have to be aware, so you know what not to do, not what to do.
But you were one of the first to open the shops looking like home.
Yeah.
And so it was very important to...
Yeah, I mean, the very first shop was very tiny, you know, it was 3 meters by 3 meters. And so when you walked into the shop, you were like, the customer was right in front of you immediately. So I needed something to make them relax. So of course you could show them the clothes, but also if you could show them an interesting object or a poster. I used to get the posters from the Gallery Mite here, and so I would have the Calder poster or a Giacometti poster on the wall, and you immediately made people relax because there was a conversation you could have. And then as I got a shop in London, then I was the first to have you know, the famous Braun calculator from Dieter Rams, the famous German designer. And they were all things that brought people to the shop, but also a way of making people relax. I've always thought it was really odd that to just have a shop that's so specific, because we're not all so specific, you know. So you might find something that's really playful or really super smart, and I've always, I mean, it's my worst and my best quality. My best quality is the fact that I can sell to an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old. But if you're in today's world, when you're trying to have an image and you're trying to have a focus, that's the worst quality, because everybody wants this little niche, you know.
But for you, the complexity is the quality, and character is more important than uniformity.
Yeah, and for me it is, yeah. I mean, we sell in 73 countries, and I work a lot in Japan, for instance, and have done for many years. And France, I've worked in France since 1976, before Japan. And I always thought that the French people would like my work because it's not too confrontational. You know, it's very wearable, but it's got a little secret, you know, a little colour or something, and that allows the wearer to feel a little bit special without being strange or odd or sticking out too much in the crowd.
That's why maybe you like to be in Paris, because of...
I love Paris, yeah. I mean, the only sad thing for me with Paris now is that now it's always associated with work. When I first used to come, it was associated with love and romance and walking, lots and lots and lots and lots of walking.
Like Woody Allen said that, he said that if New York did not exist, I would stay and live in Paris. Would it be the same for you?
I'm not sure I would want to live in any one place, because I'm so privileged to be able to travel so much. I have a home in Italy and I have a home in London, and then I traveled. Last week I was in Berlin, next week I'm in Milan, and you know, so I'm always traveling. But I could easily, my dream, I used to have a dream where I would wake up and I was in Rue Jacob, in a little courtyard with a tree and an apartment upstairs. Of course, I never had one, but I had a dream in my head about that. I don't know why. I remember going to Rue de Dauphine and...
so it's Rive Gauche, huh?
Yeah.
You are very Rive Gauche.
Then, definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Then. And then, of course, I remember the first Saint Laurent shop opening in Tournon. And then, you know, as you know from my history, I was privileged to go to a lot of the couture shows when I was 21 years of age, with Coco Chanel sitting on the stairs, and Yves Saint Laurent when he first did the smoking with the see-through top, and the 20 people in the audience were there was only 20 people, maybe 21, because couture then was only There was no music. It was just 20 people in the audience, 1 or 2 shows a day, only 21 outfits.
So it was a little boring, maybe?
No, it was wonderful. The vendeurs with all the pin cushions no, it was fantastic because I learnt about appreciating quality. That's what's so been brilliant about France for me is you talk about style earlier, and I said it's quite hard to define. But the thing is about the French. Then I'm not so sure now. I don't really know, but then it was very much about not buying a lot of clothes, but the clothes you all bought were very beautiful quality, and there would be for that season, and then you added things that already existed in your wardrobe and you added to them and you built up a wardrobe. When you went to the couture, you could, because of Pauline, my wife, my girlfriend then, she studied at the Royal College of Art when it was just only teaching couture fashion. So I'd already learnt about the importance of the shape of a sleeve, the balance of the opening, the size of the pocket. And so when you were looking at Balmain, Patou, Balenciaga, Cardin, Courrèges, age 21, you were just so excited but only because Pauline had trained my eyes to look for those important things. It would have been boring if I didn't know that.
So you were influenced at the same time by the Savile Row, by London, but also by Paris. Yeah. And Paris, is it still for you capital of fashion, or this concept of capital of fashion?
I mean, I think commercially, it's still the capital of because, as you know, the Fashion Week next week, and there's still the biggest quantity of the most important shows is still in Paris. And for men as well, I've only ever shown in Paris. I've never shown anywhere else, only in Paris.
Only in Paris.
I never showed in London because there was no Fashion Week. I have shown in Florence twice, invitation, but I always show here. And then, I've had my showroom here since many, many years. And I was privileged to receive the Légion d'honneur, which is hopefully because I've been loyal to Paris, and loyal to France. I think from a creative point of view, London is London and Paris are very close in many ways, because creatively in London you have a lot of the important colleges, which now, because of you have to pay to go to the colleges, so you get students from many countries around the world. So there's this sort of cocktail of Malaysia, Korea, Japan, America, and so the innovation that comes out of those schools is really exciting. I think the hardest thing is making those almost over-designed clothes relevant in terms of commercial success.
What would be your advice to a young designer or today?
Well, I think the thing is that it's not good enough just to be a designer and be able to create clothes. It's unfortunately, and I feel sad for people like Alexander McQueen, who passed away, as you know, Galliano, who became too stressed, and this week some news about designers burning out already. The pressure is so huge now. So it's not good enough just to be able to draw or to design, but you have to be aware of social media, of what other people are doing, how the world works, e-commerce. I mean,
But you have to be everywhere, so it's so difficult. So
that's why.
At the same time, the artist and the businessman.
Yeah.
So
for me, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have many hats. I have a businessman hat, designer hat. But I'm blessed with being a very relaxed person. And if you can be relaxed, and if you've got security at home, and if you've got, it's an absolute miracle that Paul Smith is still an independent company.
Miracle?
Because, as you know, the big brands, they own like 100 brands. 100 brands, they have a lot of cash, so they can promote a brand very aggressively, financially. And they don't actually care if the brand is only really popular for 3 years or 4 years. It's like this is a pussycat and this is a mouse. So they play with the mouse and they make a lot of money, and then so maybe this brand goes down, but then there's another one comes up. When you're an independent company, if you want to have a business for a long time, then you have to be a lot more cautious, and you have to be a lot more feet on the ground, and that's why going down the logo route is very dangerous for an independent company. Because if I had Paul Smith written on everything,
yes.
Then your son, who's 20, he would say, that's what my brother wore, that's what my dad wore, I don't want that. So they'd reject it. So my business would, go like this, because if you write Paul Smith or Balenciaga or anything on things, it sells. But then eventually it goes like this, because the 14-year-old becomes 18 and then 20, and they go, I don't want that, that's what my dad wore. That's what my, granddad wore in some cases. So you've seen a lot of brands that we know really well, and I won't name them, but that have been around a similar time to me, and they're going through a lot of difficulty right now.
Thank you. My last question, could you quickly draw us, c'est ça? A Paul Smith version of Sciences Po logo?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it's a P and an S, yeah.
P and an S instead of the S and P.
Yeah, like this, you mean? Yeah, so this is Paul, and this is Smith. And then here we'll do, so what should we do with that? I think love, because we love the logo, and then I might give you you have a fox at the moment. A fox and a lion. Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a rabbit instead.
20 on 20. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Sciences Po.